12 to 15,000 Jews in 1 week. 1944, 2 days before D-Day. The others were Hungarians. Now, wait a second, but about the Romanians, they have done terrible things. And the Poles and the Ukrainians. We cannot live like that. And we shouldn't live like that. I had once personally an occasion like that. During the Eichmann trial, I covered the Eichmann trial as a journalist. And in Israel at that time, that was really the beginning of the process when the world began learning about that tragedy because of the Eichmann trial. On all the front pages. We didn't have television yet then, but enough to show it. And the mood, the loudspeakers would give reports, living reports of the trial. In Tel Aviv, in Haifa, Jerusalem. And one day I took a bus from Jerusalem to see a friend in Tel Aviv. The bus was crowded. And all of a sudden, a man standing in front of me, I recognized his neck. Not his face, his neck. I looked. I came up to him. I said, "Sir, where were you during the war?" Didn't ask. Poland? I said, yes. In a camp? Auschwitz? I said, yes. Block 66. He became pale. He was the Blockelster of the block. At that moment, if I had said this is a Blockelster, they would have beaten him up immediately because of the mood in the country. So for 1 minute I became his prosecutor, the prosecuting witness, and also his lawyer and his judge. It didn't take longer than 60 seconds. And then I simply said to myself, has he killed? Has not killed. Has he been particularly vicious? No, like all the others. Has he been especially cruel? No. I said, okay. I said, don't worry, don't worry. He said, why? Were you? I said, yes. And then he felt relief. He said something to me, it was extraordinary. I have a restaurant, he said, in Tel Aviv. Come, I'll give you a meal. I just saved his life. And I said, why did he say that? There was a reason. What was my connection with him? He was distributing the soup every day. The only contact I had with him was he gave me soup. It came back to him too. So he wanted to give me soup. But that was the only case. Now, we speak about Jewish values, Jewish concept of philosophy. I'll give you a few words mine, because we have people here from so many horizons. I believe that the more Jewish the Jew, the more universal he or she is. In previous centuries, for a Jew to attain universality, he had to give up his Jewishness. The great poet Heine did that. Some composers did that. It didn't help them. Because the truth is, what I say about Jews, I really believe with all my heart. I could say that about Christians and Muslims and Buddhists, absolutely. I never believe that the Jewish people is superior to any other, nor is it inferior. I never believe the Jewish religion is superior to any other, nor is it inferior. I never believe the Protestant is superior, and so forth. What do I believe? The Jewish tradition, to me, is the only one that I can claim as mine and make it into a universal message. A message of understanding and learning, and offer a common quest which must improve the human condition. Now, does it mean, therefore, that I have a disrespect for others? God is my witness that I have not. Of course, I don't like those fanatics who believe that only they are entitled to God's ear, that only they have the right to tell me what to do, and in whom to believe. I have been fighting for years those fanatics. I organized conferences all over the world called Anatomy of Hatred, because fanaticism is hatred. And I say that hatred is like a cancer, contagious. It goes from cell to cell, from person to person, from group to group. Hatred is a feast, and our answer to it is an open palm. So, you mentioned Dalai Lama. I'll conclude with the story of Dalai Lama. He's a close friend of mine. I met him years and years ago. He called me. He had just come to America for the first time. Nobody knew about him. He didn't have many friends. I had to take him to Washington to introduce him to senators and so forth. In the first hour meeting, he said to me the following. He read some of my works. He said, I know that your people left your homeland 2,000 years ago, but you are still here. Mine just left it a few years ago. But I know it's going to be a very long road. Teach us, you the Jew, teach us the art of survival. What should we do to survive? So why did he come to me? It's because I am Jewish. But he realized that the attitude of universality is part of my Jewishness. We can teach the non-Jew, the Christian and the Buddhist and the Muslim to live authentically their lives when we live authentically our own. Now, I have studied Buddhism. I was in India, I studied Buddhism. For a while, I was terribly attracted to it. And as a good yeshiva student, I knew by heart the Gitas, the Upanishads, the Vedas. I knew it by heart. And then I realized again, what attracted me to Buddhism is my quest for knowledge, and a knowledge that must be shared. This is, I think, why we are here today. Not to forget one another, because we haven't sinned against one another. We are here together to learn from each other, with each other, what it means to live in this beginning of a century that doesn't occur well. It's not a good century. True, the 20th was worse. But here it began already, and it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good. The level of discussions is horrible. You mentioned the elections here. I cannot stand the elections here. It is on such a low level that I wonder what is happening to this country and to this society. But don't ever think it's worse than everywhere else. Everywhere it's the same. So what should we do then? As I told you, I love questions. Thank you.